NBA Today with Malika Andrews, live from Los Angeles.
Welcome to NBA Today. We have a developing story today in the basketball world. Bronny James, the eldest son of Lakers star LeBron James, suffered a cardiac arrest Monday and is in stable condition. And the James family spokesperson released the following statement saying, quote, yesterday while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest and medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family, and we will update media when there is information available. LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical staff and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. So for more on this story, we are joined now on NBA Today by ABC News chief medical correspondent, Dr. Jennifer Ashton. So Dr. Ashton, I want to start here. Can you just please explain to all of us what exactly happens during a cardiac arrest?
So first, it's really important for people to understand this is a completely different situation than a heart attack, which then leads to someone's heart stopping. Sudden cardiac arrest, particularly in an elite athlete, can occur for a variety of reasons. We have to remember there's electrical parts of the heart and then there's structural mechanical parts. Either can cause the heart to suddenly stop beating. The most common cause is something that's actually structural and congenital, known as HCM, or hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. But we can see it with irregular heartbeats and arrhythmia. Obviously, we saw with Damar Hamlin, commotio cordis, as a result to a blow to the chest. But when the heart stops beating, the clock starts ticking. And that's because every minute that the rest of the body, the brain, the heart, the rest of the vital organs are deprived of oxygenated blood, the chances of survival go down. So again, to echo the James family spokesperson, really the credit is due to the emergency responders and the certified athletic trainers and the coaching staff on scene who was able to apparently perform early bystander CPR, possibly AED use. We know that that is critically important, as it is to activate the 911 system and get someone to a hospital.
Absolutely. Dr. Ashton, I think part of what makes this so jarring, right, is that we're talking about a healthy 18-year-old young man. How often does this happen?
Well, remember, I think part of the reason people are surprised when they hear cardiac arrest is they think heart attack. Remember, when you're talking about this population, competitive elite athletes, it is uncommon. We see about 100 to 150 cases of sudden cardiac arrest in these younger athletes in this country every year. That's obviously uncommon, but if that's your child, all it takes is one. So I think that it's important to distinguish. This is not a heart attack. This is something completely different. And again, it calls to mind just how important it is to learn bystander CPR and the use of one of those AED defibrillators.
I think the most important thing here, Dr. Ashton, is Bronny's health, his return to normalcy. You mentioned Damar Hamlin a little bit earlier. He's one of many athletes who lent his voice in support, tweeting about Bronny James, wishing him a speedy recovery and saying that he's there for you guys as they come through all of this. But can you just explain for an athlete, what does the recovery and ultimately the likelihood to return to sports look like after a patient has suffered from a cardiac arrest?
Well, first, the mental component. And I've spoken to Damar Hamlin. I've gotten the honor and privilege to get to know him a little bit. He's an incredible individual, but the psychological, mental, and emotional recovery after someone goes through this in some ways can be more significant than the physical one. Standard procedure really physically is to monitor and or manage someone in the acute period of time following an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest in an intensive care unit setting. That's to make sure that neurologically, cardiovascularly, their respiratory system, liver function, kidney function, all organ systems are secure and stable. And then, you know, they don't just get sent home from the hospital. They're monitored in an in-hospital setting. And then we have to try to figure out why the cardiac arrest happened, and that will then determine someone's return to play eligibility.
Dr. Ashton, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us here on NBA Today to explain all of those nuances to us and to our audience. I think at the end of the day, I mean, this is so scary. We just heard the numbers from Dr. Ashton, but it only takes one when it is your brother, when it is your sister, when it is your child to feel that effect. And first and foremost, thank goodness Bronny is okay, right? That medical personnel were able to get to him as quickly as they were able to. And as a sibling, I mean, I can only imagine, right, as a parent, our thoughts are with Savannah, with LeBron, with the entire James family, and I just hope for Bronny's continued recovery here. I want to bring in Chiney Agumake, Kendrick Perkins into this conversation. And Perk, I mean, you are a parent. What are your thoughts when you heard this news?
You know, Malika, Chiney, they have a saying, right? You don't know how it feels until you actually have a child. I used to hear that all the time growing up. And to be honest with you, is when it comes down to your children, one, the last thing that you want to see is your child go through any type of pain or suffering. And the fear of losing your child is a parent's worst nightmare. And when I see parents around the world that have lost their child to whatever the case may be, different type of situations, or their child is going through things, I can only imagine. And the one thing that comes to mind for me is that don't ever think it can't happen to you. I reached out to Bron today, and I just sent him a long, heartfelt message, you know, told him I'm here for him, because we all know that one thing about LeBron James, despite his celebrity, despite how great of a basketball player he is, despite how active he is in the community and what he has done for the whole world, for this generation, he is one hell of a father. And we watch him time and time again on how he always is, you know, promoting and telling people how much he loves his family, how much he cherished being Bronny's father. And when you see things like this happen, it just like put everything in perspective again. And, you know, I just wanted to reach out to him and Savannah and just tell them, hey, praying for, first of all, my nephew Bronny, and I'm praying for the family. But when you have kids, it's just a different feeling. I mean, it's a different feeling, and it's a fear that you don't ever want to have to come across.
Yeah, I think there's a big fear, you know, obviously not parents, but when you look at it as a sibling or possibly as a teammate, it's a very scary scenario because, you know, obviously speedy recovery to Bronny and prayers to the family to get through this experience expeditiously, but also his teammates were there. And, you know, shout out to the coaching staff, the emergency personnel, those who came and helped, because those people were ready for that moment to help in that situation. I'm someone who has practiced at USC. USC has been superb, A1, top notch. Whenever you walk into that gym, you know, I was preparing for the WNBA season, and really during the season as well, we go there, you know that you're taken care of. And I think this just highlights those heroes, you know, behind the scenes that are able to react in a good time to be able to resolve these situations. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to everyone, including the teammates that are probably feeling emotions as well. Absolutely.
As Dr. Ashton said, right, the more favorable outcome was able to be reached potentially here because of the quick action of those medical staff that were on site. Again, we are reacting to the news that Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. He is in stable condition and is out of the ICU. We will keep you updated on this story as it continues to develop. But right now, our thoughts, our prayers are with the James family. We have some major news this morning, though, out of Boston. Earlier, Jaylen Brown signed the largest contract in NBA history. Our senior writer, Mark Spears, first reported the deal. Brown and the Celtics have agreed on a 5-year, get this, Chiney, supermax extension worth up to $304 million. The two-time All-Star.
Can I hold like 1%?
I know, right? Now under contract through the 28-29 season, will make $69.1 million in the final year of his deal.
What?
I know. Look at this. So Jaylen Brown, he made All-NBA for the first time last season, earning second-team honors. He set career highs across the board. He's entering his prime, right? And we know the duo of Brown and Jason Tatum had 10 games scoring 30 points each last season, something that only Shaquille O'Neal and the great Kobe Bryant have done in the last 30 years. So, Perk, this is the first $300 million deal that we have seen in NBA history. Do you believe? I mean, the Celtics, they had to make this move, right, Perk?
That's not the UPS truck. That's not the Brinks truck up. And back it up. But listen, here's the thing, right? First of all, I don't even want to get into the point whether or not what's the expectations.
Okay.
I just want to congratulate Jaylen Brown because although it's entertainment to us and we're able to watch him play basketball, watch these athletes play basketball, anytime you're capable of cashing out $304 million, the richest NBA contract in NBA history, hey, listen, that is something that is a beautiful thing to see. And look, again, this is about work. We praise championships, and yes, we want to see teams compete for championships. We want to see players go team up with other players to try to win championships. But at the end of the day, this is a job to the players. And I always say, get your lettuce, get your cabbage, get as much as you possibly can before your time runs out in the NBA. So congratulations to Jaylen Brown. I'll get into the other details later on in the week or next week.
Oh, well, I'll get into them now because, like, JB, can I hold $1? Can I hold 10? Can I hold $1 million? I ain't mad at you. You know, as an athlete, you know, Perk, you know this as well, your ultimate goal is to get the most you can while you're playing, especially in your prime. And it's crazy because it feels like he's just now entering his prime, meaning what we've seen on the court. I know we have some recency bias because of the way, you know, he performed in the last series when they needed him the most, the shooting percentage from three. But at the end of the day, if you look at his collective body of work, all of the people that are hating potentially on, oh, he's the one that got this money, would want him on their team. He's someone that you can build through the future with. He's dynamic. He can take over games, and he just gets better each and every year. Now, it's all about putting all the pieces together at the right time, right, Perk, when it comes to Boston, but you cannot be mad at what JB has secured for himself. I mean, is this like, does this count as generational wealth? This is like generation.
Yeah, like
what's beyond
generational,
forever
unimaginable.
Forever.
This is forever.
Well, I can tell you this. I'll tell y'all this. His name can't be Jaylen Underappreciated Brown anymore.
No, he's Jaylen Paid Brown now.
Yeah.
He's just Jaylen Paid. But I mean, Perk, I know you said we're not going to get into the expectations now, and to me, part of it is, okay, the salary cap goes up. These are what the contracts that we're just going to be seeing. Do the expectations go up when it comes with a price tag like this, Perk?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, ma'am. And listen, here's the thing. When it comes down to the expectations, first of all, in the city of Boston, the state of Massachusetts, we're talking about championships any damn way. So now, look, we have been waiting over the last 3 or 4 years for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to deliver one championship. Now you under this big deal right now. One championship is not going to be enough. And we're talking about, like Shanae said, a guy that's just entering or scratching the surface of his prime.
Yep.
Him and Jason Tatum are going to have to take that next leap of being able to cut down on turnovers while making others around them better. The great KG said this. This is when you know you have made it. When you're able to go out there and get you 30 and get somebody else alongside of you 15 and 10.
Absolutely, and I do think the expectations are through the roof for the Celtics. We thought that they could win a championship, and they're so close. They're knocking on the door. And so when you get paid that amount, that expectation is you deliver. Now, I think that it can go both ways. If they don't get it, he's paid enough to be the number one option on the team. Now, there are 30 teams in the NBA, so you have to think big picture, right? Like, what's the best thing for you, JB? But at the end of the day, they have to win a championship because that's what they're investing in. They're investing. The time is now. The talent is here, and we should be able to get over this hump.
And still, when we look at all the moves in the Eastern Conference, still, when we look at Miami as the team that was able to represent the East last year in the finals, when we talk about the conference as a whole, we still look at who? The Milwaukee Bucks, and we look at the Boston Celtics as that upper echelon. Just one more quick note on this contract before we go to break. I just thought this was awesome. Adam Himmelsbach of the Boston Globe reported that Jaylen Brown requested that instead of having a formal press conference at the Arbach Center, his extension is going to be announced at the Juice Bridge program, which is a collaboration with MIT for minority high school students.
Amazing.
So what Jaylen already giving back with this $300 million bag as well. But When you sign a contract that big, we can't just talk about it in one block of our show. So still to come on NBA Today. Celtics fans, please stick around because we're going to have much more on his new 5-year Supermax contract that's going to pay him up to $304 million. I got to keep saying it to believe it. Our panel dives into bring a world record transfer fee of $332 million to PSG for the rights to Kylian Mbappe. It could potentially be a part of a $1.1 billion with a B dollar package that could see Mbappe make a $776 million salary in just one season. I mean, those numbers, they're hard to even comprehend. They're hard to talk about. And get this, sources told ESPN that Mbappe is not interested in the offer. But, I mean, you better believe that those numbers drew some attention from some folks around the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he had a pitch. He posted on social media, hey, oh, hello, you can take me. I look like Kylian Mbappe.
I'm weak. I am weak.
Oh, man, Giannis is funny.
Shoot your shot.
I mean, why not? When you're talking about $1 billion, I suppose. That is a big, big bag, big perk. If the NBA, let's just say.
You feeling some type of way?
Yeah, think about it this way. Just pretend. Put your imaginary hat on, if you will. Let's pretend the NBA functioned in a way that just salary cap wasn't a thing. That you could just take out, I was going for my checkbook. I don't have it here. A blank check. You could just back up the Brinks truck. Who is the one player that you are writing out that unlimited check to?
Well, one, let me say this. What is the age, right? What is the age that you have to retire? Like the average age for soccer players? Because I'm pretty damn sure I could be a great goalie.
Oh,
with this size,
for sure.
I probably cover
Eat up all the space.
Yeah, I probably cover up the whole. Well, I would cover up the whole net anyway. So that would be good. Just give me a bag. Second of all, if I had to pick one player, you ready for this? If I had to pick one player, if the NBA didn't have a salary cap, I would give it to the light-skinned brother with the green eyes in the Bay Area. I would give it to Steph Curry. You know why? Because I would make my money back in 2 games. Because that's how box office he is. And I know a lot of people think I be hating on the Warriors, and sometimes I do, but I actually love Steph Curry and what he has done for the game of basketball. He's entertaining. He's going to show up and show out every single night, and kids want to see Steph no matter what.
Yep.
So I would give it to him.
Okay. Yes, I agree. That was my second option. Immediately, my brain went to Lakers, and I even thought of the past. I thought of Shaq. If you hear what Shaq does with his money, impressive.
Yep.
I thought of Magic Johnson the same way, Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe. But let's talk about a current Laker who already is a billionaire, I believe, right?
Yep.
LeBron James. I mean, what he did, I think, particularly as an athlete, sort of trending this more than athlete moniker he talks a lot about, where he was able to dabble, and I say dabble, dominate other industries. And this is a guy that made, what, $528 million? So he was halfway there. Through the NBA. Shout out to the NBA for that. But then the other half, you think of Tonal, Pepsi, Beats, taking equity, Nike, lifetime contracts. The way that he's reimagined his deal set the tone for a generation so that even people like me and Perk can benefit from having more leverage at the negotiation table. So the easy answer, which I always go for, the path of least resistance is LeBron James.
Well,
LeBron
James said he would be good with that. He tweeted at Rich Paul and Mav Carter, if they call me with a 1-year deal worth nearly $1 billion, you can't blame him if he has to take a look at something like that. I feel like Giannis Antetokounmpo, though. I mean, he already made the case for it. I feel like you can't overlook Giannis, who has this global reach that potentially he would be someone that I would look at investing that sort of check in. Someone who's already, though, signed that check, Jaylen Brown. Coming up on NBA Today, the Celtic star has agreed to sign the richest deal in NBA history. So how's this new bag going to impact the Celtics moving forward? Big Perk, he is ready to talk about their future. And Luka Doncic getting ready to dollars. This is the biggest contract in NBA history. So to celebrate history, we're running back a little top of the top best moments of Jaylen Brown's career thus far. And as Shanae said, he's just now entering his prime. So we're going to get so many more that we're going to get to add to this. But let's start right now with some top posters. And if we're going to do that, Director Kathy, it feels like we need to start in 2018. Woo! Yep, first the Knicks.
Oh, yeah.
Over his now teammate, Kristaps Porzingis. Oh, yep.
Oh,
and then
showing the versatility. The first one was off of one leg, off of two. A little cuff action.
And then, of course, against the Mavericks. Yeah, this was...
They look better when you split the screen.
You know what? I was at this game. I wonder why he didn't come dap me up.
Well, so was KG. He was sitting baseline for that one. And then we have some top clutch shots. Of course, we have to start in 2018 once again. 1 second left. And he wins the game. Over Rudy Gobert, too.
Without the basketball.
Ooh, and then, sorry, Rockets.
I know. I knew this one was coming.
I'm sorry, Janae. But there's going to be more Rockets highlights coming. They're up and coming.
Oh, they are up and coming.
They're up and coming.
In today's show, wow.
Not today, but coming.
Not this year, and this time they won't be on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. They got some young talent. That is a tough bucket. And
like,
look at
what
banks it in too. Woo. And then we got.
Oh yeah. Spin cycle, yeah.
That's a bag right there.
Top.
That's a bag right there.
Oh,
That's a
my
bag
God.
right
What did
there.
Bruce Brown on
That's
Queen
a bag
not
right
around?
there.
Hezzy. Filet.
I just want you to keep doing.
Yo, when he
broke his ankle.
When he starts getting in his little package, like what you know? It's, oh man.
Oh, look at the crowd, just loved it. You got to finish those shots too. Those are tough.
Yeah. Ooh, nice slow mo.
Bobby Portis, all you can do is watch on that one.
True.
Sometimes though, what is the saying? Money changes people. Sometimes, not all times. But check out this image that his teammate Robert Williams III posted. It looks like maybe he was trying to FaceTime Jaylen Brown. Quote, "See how they do you?" But I know, Janae, you always pick up the phone when your teammates call.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I really don't. If my teammate's my sister, I'm gonna answer.
Yeah, your sister. I was like, Perk, I think
our
still
group
owes
chat, the NBA Today group chat.
Our group chat
needs a new name one.
I don't under Richard.
Richard
named it. I don't really understand it. Richard,
but
you're gonna have to explain it to us.
I do respond to that as well. Teammates only.
Yeah, teammates only. Perk, let's get back to the on the court stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Give me $300 million and watch how I act.
You're not responding to this.
Yeah, he'd be gone.
Fine, we'll rename it Alone then. All right, Jaylen Brown, let's get back on track. He was All-NBA for the first time in his career. Now he's being paid like it as well. So how exactly, you said earlier, when you're paid like that, Perk, you have something to live up to. So how exactly does he do that?
You know what? I'm just waiting on Jaylen Brown to actually take that leap of consistently being an All-NBA player. Not where it's like we got to guess when he coming into the season, or we got to vote him in, or the coaches got to vote him in for the All-Star reserve. Like, I want Jaylen Brown to really be mentioning a name in the same conversation with Jason Tatum, with Donovan Mitchell, with Devin Booker, with stars to that nature, because he has the same exact bag and he can get it done. Again, the growth part of Jaylen Brown is getting others around him better. We already know now, we know that he's a walking bucket offensively. His mindset right on the defensive side, he's one of the best in the game. Now can you take that next step of making guys around you better with keeping the turnovers down?
And one thing I love about JB is that he's consciously aware. Like, he knows things on and off the court. He knows his teammates. He's a consummate professional, and he's always working to improve, not just when he's in his jersey, but also when he's outside of his jersey. I think that, Perk, I push back a little bit. It's not easy having two guys that are very similar in age, similar in skill set, be able to figure out in real time. Typically, we see great duos be one center and one guard, where they can sort of divide the court. They can play pick and roll. They're having to figure out defensive coverages together, which they've sort of done as a unit. The Celtics defensively are solid. But offensively, when do I take over? They made strides in discovering that, and even letting JB have some games, letting JT have some games. I know it's not easy, but I do think that this money just basically dictates that this team is on the clock to win a championship, because you've invested in him. You have someone that is in MVP contention in Jason Tatum last season. You have better pieces offensively in the post. So the time is now. But I don't think he's done a bad job. I just think people are waiting to see them win a championship more so than him become more, because he's been right on time with his development.
Well, Jaylen Brown, Perk, signing the largest contract in NBA history. But there are some other All-Star caliber players who are also eligible to sign some max extension with their respective teams this offseason. So some of these extensions could include what you see on your screen there. We got Giannis Antetokounmpo. Anthony Davis is eligible on August 4th to sign that extension. And then you have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Bam Adebayo, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, and Klay Thompson.
Strong names.
Yeah, Perk, I know you are all for players getting every penny they can. There are any names on this list maybe that you would be hesitant to signing a long-term extension, or are you just saying, yep, all of them good to go?
Oh, no, I'm not saying yep to all of them, but I think a lot of teams don't have a choice. But I'm looking at Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. And it's not because of what they do when they're available. It's that they're hardly available. And so I understand that, eventually, the Clippers are going to have to sign them because they're going to have to fill in seats. Toilets are going to have to be used in that new arena. And you're not going to find two caliber players like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. But to be honest, ever since those two paired together in a Clipper uniform, every single season has been the same story. They can't stay healthy.
Those are not regular toilets, right? Malika, didn't you go and see them?
They're special toilets, and he's Steve Ballmer's very excited about the number of toilets.
I remember you in the hard hat.
That are in their new Intuit dome.
Get me out of this toilet conversation.
I did not think this is where we'd be going on NBA Today, but you know what? Toilets, bidets, we're your home for anything.
Are we talking toilets right now?
You know what? We're talking toilets, fam. That's what we're doing today. Full stop, transition. Donovan Mitchell's going to be an interesting one to watch, though, just his situation with the Cavaliers, if that is something that he wants, because it's not only what's offered to him, but it's where he wants to be long-term in his career. All right, on that toilet note, coming up on NBA Today, Nikola Jokic, he's having one heck of a summer. Because all he does is win. We're going to tell you about another championship that had the two-time MVP all fired up. Bronny James, the eldest son of Laker star LeBron James, suffered a cardiac arrest during a USC practice session on Monday morning. Now, Bronny is out of the ICU and is in stable condition, and the James family spokesperson released a statement saying, quote, yesterday, while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He's now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family, and will update the media when there is more information. LeBron and Savannah, they wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. So for more, we are joined now by ESPN NBA reporter Dave McMenamin, who covers the Lakers for us. Dave, what is the latest that you are hearing here from LeBron James's camp?
Well, I was in touch with that James family spokesman on Tuesday morning, and he reiterated to me that indeed the James family is appreciative of the support and concern for their son Bronny, and they want everyone to know that he is in stable condition. But they're kind of closing ranks around this moment. Certainly they want their privacy to be respected. And as this story develops, as news or information or developments become available, they will disseminate that information. But for now, you're talking about LeBron James, someone who has lived his life in the public spotlight for close to 25 years, and recognizing some of the consequences that's had on his family in terms of their privacy being compromised. They're hoping to focus on the family in this moment, and we will learn more. Hopefully the news continues in a positive direction with Bronny's health moving forward.
Dave, thank you so very much. We, of course, will continue to bring you that news as it unfolds and develops, and as the James family shares that information with us. In the meantime, reaction, though, it's been coming in from across the NBA world, across the sports world, via social media. Prayers from Trae Young, from Donovan Mitchell, you can see here, and Jason Tatum as well. An outreach, it's not just contained, as I mentioned, to the NBA. It includes words from Bills safety Damar Hamlin, who's back playing football after suffering a cardiac arrest months ago during an NFL game, and whose recovery really gripped the nation. He said, prayers to Bronny and the James family as well. Here for you guys, just like you have been for me my entire process. To the WNBA, Las Vegas Aces forward Candace Parker had surgery on a fracture in her left foot. The team announced that on Monday night. Now, despite playing with the break all season, the former MVP has helped the Aces jump out to a 21-2 mark on the season. Parker is averaging 9 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 3.7 assists per game. Now, no Parker, but the Aces, they will take their league best 21-2 record to Chicago, where they'll face Kalia Copper and the Sky. That's tonight at 7 on ESPN. It's also available on Deportes and ESPN app. Still to come on NBA Today, the Mavericks. They reshuffled their roster a little bit this offseason, and they are betting big on the duo of Kyrie and Luka. Will they get this team back to the playoffs? Our reporter from Dallas joins us next.
Oh, that's a grown man's jam. At the buzzer. Oh, my goodness. Puts up the three. Oh, it's good. Who else but the king?
Let's get to the Mavs, because Luka Doncic is getting in some cardio, looking lean, looking slender as he gets ready to lead Slovenia in next month's FIBA World Cup. And we can't talk Luka and the Mavs without bringing in our reporter, Tim McMahon. You can see Luka running some stairs there. I feel like that's what I need to go do after the show. I know. All right. Little flex fire emoji down there. Tim, with that video aside, you've covered the Dallas Mavericks, their failure, I think it's fair to say, to make the playoffs this spring. Have the Mavericks done enough, when you look at the moves they've made, when you look at the extension they signed Kyrie Irving to recover, to bounce back from last season's debacle here?
Yeah, well, clearly priority number one was bringing Kyrie Irving back. They were able to get that done without any real issue there. They needed to upgrade the defense. The addition of Grant Williams was certainly a big step in that direction. They turned that number 10 overall pick that they blatantly tanked to keep into two defensive-minded athletic rookies. We'll see how quickly Derek Lively and Omax Prosper are ready to contribute, probably sooner for Prosper than Lively on a regular basis, but feel good about that. But I would say the primary reason to believe that the Mavericks can bounce back, you just showed. Luka looks lean.
Yep.
And look, we all know Luka can play in the 250s, even the 260s, and put up numbers. Can he stay strong for the whole season? Can he play both ends of the floor? Well, he's leaned up now. Lean for him is somewhere probably in the 240s. But if you look at what went wrong for the Mavericks last season, a lot of that is Luka really faded toward the end of the season. He did not finish strong. He's clearly taken that part of the conditioning part seriously. You don't have to wonder. Just log on to Instagram. He'll show you when he's working out. And he's putting in the work this summer, so that's extremely encouraging.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with a little gym flex pick. Perk, what do you think?
No, I'm with it. I think the Mavs did enough to actually be in the playoffs. And I'm not talking about the play-in tournament. Again, I love what they did with the number 10 pick with Lively. I love the addition of Seth Curry. And I definitely love skinny Luka. And look, when I bring up whack bodies, I'm part of that team as well, or was part of that team when I played. And this is not the first time that we have seen Luka come into training camp in great shape. The thing about it is being able to sustain that for the long haul, being able to be disciplined throughout the course of the season, knowing that you want to be at your peak when you hit postseason. That's why I give a lot of credit to Jokic. When you look at him and you look at how he was disciplined throughout the whole course of the season, that's what Luka has to do.
And we all know he played his strongest season entering last year after competing internationally. So carrying that over, I think he's like, oh, this kind of worked for me. Mm-hmm. But what's crazy is that he faded towards the end of last season, but he was still number 2 in the NBA in points per game at 32 points per game. So you feel like if he's able to sustain himself, they absolutely are a playoff team, even in a stacked West. But I do like, as Tim mentioned, the additions that they had, because if you look at their offense between him and Kyrie, they've got it covered. Offensively, they're going to be off of the charts, right? Defensively is what that identity that got them so far 2 years prior in the playoffs, that's what they missed. And so bringing in those defensive players, including a defensive type of captain, an accountability leader in Grant Williams, it feels like all things are sort of merging for them to be more positive and more sustainable.
Defense wins championships. We've only seen a handful of teams, very, very few, that have been able to finish outside the top 10 in defense and also win championships. And you mentioned Kyrie Irving. I feel like there's no question about his talent. We saw it for the Mavericks. We saw it just a couple of days ago in the Drew League. But Tim, what are the questions that people have maybe in the league that they're asking about Kyrie's future with the Mavericks now that he's signed this extension?
Well, they're the obvious questions based on Kyrie Irving's track record. You know, he ended up forcing his way out of Cleveland. You know, the Boston tenure did not end well. Brooklyn obviously forced its way out of there. It's essentially how long can the Mavericks keep Kyrie Irving happy? But look, the Mavericks were confident all along they would be able to keep him. Obviously, I think he attempted to create a market. There weren't other better options, but they feel like the relationships they have, the respect that they give him, and the fact that they think that he does really fit well there despite the disappointing results last season. And when we talk about Luka fading towards the end of last season, a big part of that was because of the workload he had early in the season. That's why they went out and got Kyrie Irving. They desperately missed Jalen Brunson. They went out and got Kyrie Irving. The hope is these guys with the training camp together will be able to hit the ground running next season, and Luka won't have to put the team on his back every single offensive possession for the first few months of the season, as was the case a year ago when he clearly wore down.
Tim, while we have you here, you also cover the Memphis Grizzlies extensively for us. Just 1 minute here, Perk. I just want to check in really quickly before we let you go. On Desmond Bane, Steven Adams are both recovering from injuries. Bane, of course, underwent a surgery, right, to repair a broken bone in his toe, and then Steven Adams had a stem cell injection in his knee. Tim, can you just let us know what right now the outlook is for both Bane and Adams for the start of the season?
Well, the hope is that they'll have both of those guys back to start the season. Desmond Bane was able to finish the year playing on that injured toe, got it taken care of right after the season ended. Now, Steven Adams, I think they're being very careful with how they phrase that, because if you remember, that injury was originally supposed to be 3 to 5 weeks. After 3 to 5 weeks, then he got the stem cell injection. It ended up being, more than 3 months. Really missed him in the playoffs, really missed his presence inside. And the way that Zach Kleiman has phrased it is the target is for him to be ready at the start of the season. And obviously that would be huge for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Absolutely, not to mention the addition of Marcus Smart, which we are going to be diving into as we march toward the 23-24 NBA season. All right, it is that time, Richard Jefferson's favorite time in the show, Kendra Perkins.
Slide to your left a little bit. Tim, slide to your left a little bit. Please, just slide to your left. There we go. I just wanted to get you centered in your box. Right there. Stay.
Man, producer Perk, director Perk is
Yeah.
my favorite version of Kendrick Perkins. NBA Today is going to be back in 60 seconds. Now that you're centered up, Tim, please stick around because we're going to need to get into Nikola Jokic, the finals MVP, on the other side.
Ta ngầm hiểu cái 1 là sin của pi trên 2. Nên ta sẽ có tương đương là 2x cộng với pi trên 3 này, nó sẽ bằng pi trên 2 cộng gì thôi? K mấy pi nhỉ? 2 pi, đúng không? Cứ bằng 1 là cái đuôi ấy là nó cộng K 2 pi. Tương đương, ta phải rút ra cái x nhé các em nhé. Chuyển cái gì sang nhỉ các em nhỉ? Pi trên 3 sang, như vậy nó sẽ thành pi trên 2. Chuyển pi trên 3 sang là trừ pi trên 3 cộng với K 2 pi. Tương đương tiếp, chia 2 vế cho 2. Các em nhẩm có thể luôn cho đỡ phải viết này 6. Pi trên 6 đúng không? Pi trên 12. Trên 6. 6 chia 2 tiếp thì thành pi trên 12 cộng K pi. Vì K 2 pi cũng phải chia cho 2 này. Làm theo cách 2 thì nó rất là nhanh các bạn. Làm theo cách số 2 ấy, thì nó đặc thù nó rất là nhanh. Nhưng mà thôi chúng ta cứ làm cách 1 trước nhá. Bởi vì trên lớp ấy là các thầy cô hay dùng cách 1 đấy. Cách 1. Cách 1 này người ta yêu cầu giải trên cái khoảng từ 0 tới pi. Tức là cái x nó chỉ được phép nằm trên cái khoảng từ 0 tới pi thôi. X thuộc khoảng 0 pi. Vậy là nó sẽ lớn hơn gì nhỉ? X nó sẽ lớn hơn gì? Lớn hơn mấy hả các em? X sẽ lớn hơn mấy? Lớn hơn 0 và nhỏ hơn gì nhỉ? Đúng rồi, nhỏ hơn pi. X sẽ lớn hơn 0, nhỏ hơn pi. X mà lớn hơn 0, nhỏ hơn pi thì lúc đó ta sẽ tương đương. Ta thay cái họ nghiệm mà mình vừa mới giải xong này, đúng không? Thay cái họ nghiệm vừa mới giải xong, 0 nó nhỏ hơn này. Cái x ta thay bằng pi trên 12 cộng với k pi và nhỏ hơn pi. Như vậy là ta tương đương. Ta sẽ tương đương. Chuyển sang, như vậy là k sẽ lớn hơn mấy nhỉ? Chia 2 vế cho gì ở các em? Cho pi để cho nó mất đi nhá. Chia 2 vế cho pi nó mất thì chỗ này còn lại là 1/10 mấy thôi nhỉ? 1/12 đúng không? 1/12 thì chúng ta vớt sang bên kia là bao nhiêu? Trừ 1/12. Ok, em có hiểu không nhỉ? Đây. Cái pi trên 12 vớt sang bên tay trái này nó là trừ pi trên 12. Cái pi trên 12 vớt sang bên phải đây này thì là pi trừ pi trên 12, sau đó chia hai vế cho pi thì ta sẽ đạt được cái k chưa? Đó. Như vậy lớn hơn trừ 1/12. Nhỏ hơn bao nhiêu nhỉ? Pi này trừ đi pi trên 12 là 1 đấy. 1 trừ đi 1/12 là 11/12. 11/12. Ok. Rồi. Như vậy k chúng ta tìm được cái điều kiện bị chặn này trong cái tổng quát đó là cái này, nhưng bây giờ